Have you ever wanted to look into retro games but aren't sure where to begin? Do you ever wonder which classic games stand the test of time and which ones don't hold up? These are some questions that have been bothering me for a while now, and I think it's about time to do something about it. So I'm going through gaming's history one game at a time to find the best games of all time. Welcome to the Gaming Archaeologist. Fire Emblem Blazing Sword is one of my favorite games of all time, so Sacred Stones had a fair bit to live up to. How does it measure up? On the surface, some of the same criticisms I leveled against Advance Wars 2 could be leveled at Sacred Stones, as both are sequels with nearly the same gameplay as the previous game, with lots of reused assets and only minimal changes. But the reason why Sacred Stones gets away with it is because Fire Emblem has a much bigger emphasis on story and characters. So while the gameplay is very similar, the fresh faces, brand new setting, and different storyline make the game distinct and unique. While story is not at all the focus of Advance Wars 2, which means there's nothing that really makes it stand out from the first game apart from a few gimmicks. Sacred Stones focuses on the pair of siblings Erica and Ephraim, who are the twin children of the King of Renes. Their peaceful lives are shattered when the Grado Empire, a nation they had previously been on good terms with, suddenly and unexpectedly invades, separating the siblings and causing turmoil on the continent of Magvel. It's now up to the two of them to reunite, find out the meaning behind this war, and work to end it and restore peace to the land. The game has a much more exciting start than Blazing Sword, and the tutorial aspects of the game are much less overbearing. The dynamic between Erica and Ephraim is good, and you really care about them and want to help them make it through their journey okay. Unlike Blazing Sword, Sacred Stones has no avatar character for the player, which I was fine with honestly. Avatar characters are something that needs to be handled right, and Fire Emblem hasn't always done avatars well. On the one hand, you have Blazing Sword, where the avatar is a bland, blank slate who can't interact with the other characters or contribute to the gameplay, and who is so unimportant to the story and the game as a whole that you could cut them out and you wouldn't even notice. And on the other hand, you have Fates, where the avatar is so important to the other characters and to the storyline that it's distracting, and the term Mary Sue is easily justified by how indulgent the game is with the avatar. Something in the middle is preferable, like the avatar in Awakening. In that game, the avatar did help players insert themselves into the story, but never to the point of being overbearing. So if you're not sure if you can do an avatar character well, then you just might as well not have one. As long as the characters you do have in your game are good, the player will still get invested even if they don't have a self-insert character. And Sacred Stones does have an excellent cast of characters. Another change from Blazing Sword is that the game lets you have access to the support system and the merchant from the get-go, which is a definite improvement. Unfortunately, the support system still has the same annoying limits as in Blazing Sword, but at least the game did make some changes. Another change that I really appreciate is the random encounters and the ability to grind. As I said in my review of Blazing Sword, having something that acts as training wheels for new players would be nice, such as casual mode or the option of grinding. Well, Sacred Stones has the second one, so if a map is giving you a hard time, you can grind for a bit and try again. The grinding is also useful for micromanaging how your units level up, and also for getting all the support conversations you want. And if you're an experienced player who wants some extra challenge, you can easily ignore the random encounters and just focus on the main campaign. On the whole, Sacred Stones is a solid game. It's got everything that made Blazing Sword great, and makes an effort to improve on the handful of areas where Blazing Sword fell short. On top of that, it's got an excellent cast of characters and an engaging storyline with a branching path system that gives the game a fair amount of replayability. But is it better than Blazing Sword? Unfortunately no, because the game feels a little unfinished. The game only has about 20 chapters, and there are several parts that feel noticeably rushed. There's one chapter where the map has two major antagonists crammed onto it, where one would expect each of them to get their own chapter. All of this gives the impression of a game that was originally intended to be much longer and grander in scale, but something went wrong, and they had to cut back and just stitch together whatever they had. Looking at the game on its own, I would have assumed that it was a victim of overambition, but with Blazing Sword serving as a comparison, I don't think that's the case. Blazing Sword had over 30 chapters, along with a lot of side maps, was very well paced in both gameplay and story, and overall it feels like a complete experience. So my guess is that Sacred Stones was originally intended to be of the same length and quality as Blazing Sword, but they must have run out of time or money or something, and so they ended up turning in something that was good, but not great. It's a shame because I really think Sacred Stones had the potential to be even better than Blazing Sword. If Intelligent Systems continues their plans of remaking older Fire Emblem games into the future, this is a perfect candidate in my opinion, as I would love to see the original ambitious vision of Sacred Stones fully fleshed out and realized. That would be awesome. Still, while it's a little disappointing, Sacred Stones is still a really good game. It has everything you loved about Blazing Sword, and it's a solid experience in its own right. and I would definitely recommend it. My final score is an 8 out of 10. Seriously though, Intelligent Systems, in the unlikely events that you happen to be listening, this game really deserves a remake, so put it on your to-do list. Please? Maybe? Anyways, so what do you think? Which is your favorite Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advance? Whatever you think, be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you like what I do, feel free to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.